deadly would come.
He stood over the 17th green at Augusta in 1986, 46 years old, written off by the world, with one more miracle in his bag. The putt rolled, tracking perfectly, and the crowd erupted as it dropped. Werner Lundqvist's voice cracked through the silence. Yes, sir.
Maybe. Yes, sir!
That moment was not just a birdie, but a thunderclap in golf history. The Golden Bear, graying and underestimated, roared back to life when it mattered most. But long before the legend, Jack was just a chubby kid from Ohio with borrowed clubs and an oversized dream. No one knew it then, but golf was about to be changed forever. So how did that boy become the man who bent the game to his will? And is Jack Nicklaus not just the greatest golfer ever, but the greatest athlete of all time? At 16, Jack Nicklaus was not just a kid with a golf club, he was a full-blown wrecking ball, tearing through seasoned pros like they were weekend hackers. The 1956 Ohio Open? He didn't show up to play, he showed up to take over. Shooting a jaw-dropping 64, he left a trail of stunned pros in his wake, making it clear golf had a new boss and he still had homework due. Even before that, Jack was already stacking trophies like trading cards, 5 straight Ohio Junior titles by age 12, qualifying for the US Open at 17, and making the press wonder if they were witnessing the birth of a golfing machine. By 19, he became the youngest US amateur champ, and at 20, he dropped a 282 at the US Open, a record for amateurs that still haunts the history books. By 1961, Jack was not the future anymore, he was the show. Multiple amateur wins a college championship and a growing legend in the making. And here is the twist, he had not even turned pro yet. This was not the rise of a golf star, it was the prelude to a reign of terror that would rewrite the rules and change the sport forever.
Nicklaus can afford to putt cautiously, but it's not his nature, and he goes boldly for the hole. This is Palmer's last hope, and it's a slim one. When the ball misses the cup, Arnie walks up to it, taps it with one hand, and takes still another to hole out. Then he concedes the victory, picking up the coin with which Nicklaus has marked his putt.
1962 was supposed to be Arnold Palmer's year. The king was not just winning, he was ruling. The Masters, the Open Championship. Everything he touched turned to gold. Fans adored him. The media crowned him. It felt like Palmer's kingdom was secure. But standing across from him at Oakmont was a 22-year-old kid from Ohio with a crew cut and a fearless stare. Jack Nicklaus did not care about Palmer's throne or his army of fans shouting Arnie's army from the galleries. He had his mission to unseat the king. That year, the US Open was not just a tournament, but a battle for the soul of golf. Every shot, every swing was a duel. Palmer had the swagger, the crowd, the legacy, but Jack had the game. And when the final putt dropped, the crowd fell silent. Jack Nicklaus had beaten Arnold Palmer in his backyard in front of his people. At just 22, he wasn't just the next star. He was the threat everyone had hoped wouldn't come so soon. But this was not a one-time clash. The rivalry with Palmer would define an era. Every time Jack stepped onto a course, he was not just playing against par, he was playing against the legend across the fairway. And while fans loved Palmer's charm and bold play, they could not deny Jack's cold, relentless brilliance. Every victory felt like another chip in Palmer's crown. Every loss stung twice as hard because it was Nicklaus standing on top. 1963, Jack did not just challenge Palmer, he steamrolled the competition. The Masters? His. The PGA Championship? His. At 23, he became the youngest ever to wear the green jacket. The world watched, wondering how high this kid could climb.
Nicklaus makes his approach putt. He knocks it 3 feet past the pin. Nicklaus sinks it, and by the margin of 1 stroke, at 286 total, he's the new Masters champion.
But then came 1964, 3 majors, 3 runner-up finishes, 3 heartbreaks. Suddenly the whispers began. Maybe he's a flash in the pan. Maybe Palmer still owns the big stage. Critics wondered if Jack had the nerves to sustain greatness or if he'd be a footnote in Palmer's story. Jack heard it all, and in 1965 he answered, "A 9-stroke annihilation at the Masters. Not a win, a statement. It was not a tournament, but a takeover. It was golf's equivalent of a mic drop." And when he defended the title in 1966, becoming the first to win back-to-back Masters, it was clear Jack was not here to play second fiddle to anyone, not even the king, but greatness never comes easy. In 1967, the media dared to ask, "Is Jack fading?" His swing looked slower, his finishes weren't first. Palmer had lost some shine, but was Jack starting to dull too? Then came the Open Championship at Muirfield. Jack did not just win, he completed the career Grand Slam, every major at least once. The whispers stopped. The Golden Bear had roared back, but even as the trophies piled up, so did the shadows. The 1970 Open at St. Andrews was another mountaintop, victory in golf's cathedral. But the murmurs returned. How long can he keep this up? By 1972, Jack silenced them with both the Masters and US Open. His 12th major at the PGA in 1973 broke Walter Hagen's record. But with every triumph came a heavier crown. Every win raised the stakes for the next. When would the fall come? The late 70s brought more victories, but the weight of expectations never eased. 1978, a third Open Championship, making him the only player to win each major thrice. The Bear still hunted, and in 1980, he grabbed the US Open and PGA Championship like a man refusing to relinquish his throne. But inside, the clock was ticking, and outside, the challengers were circling. Then came Pebble Beach in 1982. The stage was perfect. Jack, now 42, was chasing his 5th US Open. He had clawed his way into contention, battling the course, the wins, and a new rival, Tom Watson. On the first hole, Jack made birdie. For a moment, it looked like the Golden Bear had pulled off another impossible charge. The roars shook the cliffs. But then, Watson chipped in from the rough on 17, a miracle. Jack could only watch, shaking his head in disbelief. Another birdie on 18 sealed it for Watson. That wasn't just a loss, it was the most painful defeat of Jack's career. He had been so close. The crowd wanted one more storybook ending, and for a brief moment so did he. But Pebble had other plans. As Watson lifted the trophy, Jack stared at the ocean. Not angry, not bitter, just quiet. "I gave it my best," he'd say later. But deep down, he knew that time was not just knocking on the door, it was stepping inside. And yet, even as the sun seemed to set, Jack was not finished. What came next? No one, no fan, no rival, no critic could have predicted. In 1986 at Augusta, Jack, who was 46th older, slower, forgotten by most. The sports writers had moved on to younger guns, Sev, Norman, Kite. They were supposed to own this Sunday. Jack trailed by 4 heading into the back 9. No one dared believe it, and then it happened. Birdie, birdie, an eagle at 15, another birdie at 16. The roars shook the pines. Suddenly, the name on the leaderboard was not Norman or Sevi, it was Nicklaus. His son Jackie, carrying the bag, fought back tears as his father marched toward history. When Jack's final putt dropped on 18, the crowd erupted into something more than applause. It was in awe. Jack Nicklaus had won his 6th Masters at 46, against the odds, against time. His 18th major wasn't just a win, it was a defiance, a reminder. I'm still here. That day, golf stood still. It was not just a victory for a man, it was a victory for belief itself. After 1986, the majors no longer belonged to Jack, and slowly the Golden Bear stepped back. His appearances became rarer.
Is it enough? Is it enough? Yes!
His roars became softer, but every time he teed it up, the crowds gathered, not to see if he'd win, but to say thank you, to witness history still walking the fairways. Then came St. Andrews, 2005. The old course, golf's spiritual home, was the site of Jack Nicklaus's announcement that it would be his final Open Championship, his final competitive walk across the Swilcan Bridge. Was this the end, or just the beginning of the legend? Jack Nicklaus and Sachin Tendulkar are two legends from different sports, but they are cut from the same cloth of greatness. Both were prodigies who became icons not just by winning, but by carrying the weight of entire nations' expectations. Jack owned golf's biggest stages with 18 majors. Sachin rewrote cricket's record books with 100 centuries. Quiet, focused, and deadly consistent, they didn't just play, they mastered. While Jack dissected golf courses with calm precision, Sachin took apart bowling attacks with surgical timing. Both had fairy tale comebacks, Jack at 46 winning the '86 Masters, Sachin lifting the 2011 World Cup at 38. They inspired generations. Ask Rory or Kohli, and they will tell you who set the gold standard. Different games, same legend status. Jack Nicklaus did not just crush drives, he crushed dad life too. The Golden Bear might have had the world at his feet, but he was just dad at home. He married his college sweetheart Barbara in 1960, and they have been a team ever since. She is probably the only person who ever told Jack to keep it down on the back nine. They had 5 kids: Jack Jr., Nicklaus, Steve Nicklaus, Nancy Nicklaus, Gary Nicklaus, and Michael Nicklaus. Golf didn't skip a generation either. Gary turned pro and made it to the PGA Tour. Jack Jr. Nicklaus went full caddy architect and now designs top-tier courses, and the rest stayed closer to the clubhouse but never too far from the game. Remember those dry years in the early 70s when Jack was not winning majors? He did not lose his swing, he chose family over fairways. He stepped away from the game to be present at home, proving that no green jacket was worth more than bedtime stories and diaper duty. "Barbara Nicklaus," he once said, "is the greatest gift in my life." Now, that is a love story better than any final round comeback.
Barbara's been, my wife, my lover, my best friend, and for 57, well, probably close to 60 years.
But even the Golden Bear could not avoid a few sand traps. In 2007, he sold the rights to his name, image, and likeness to the Nicklaus companies for a cool $145 million. Sounds like a birdie, right? Not quite. Years later, Jack said it was a non-exclusive deal. The company, now tied to Howard Milstein's 8 a.m. golf, said otherwise, and court battles teed off, involving Jack Nicklaus, Nicklaus Companies, and 8 a.m. golf. A New York judge eventually ruled in Jack's favor, letting him use his name again for golf course design and endorsements. But legal drama? It's still in play. The Nicklaus Companies are not ready to concede the match just yet. Scandals? There is none to report. No off-course triple bogeys here. Jack's still one of the cleanest cards in the clubhouse, just a guy who loved the game, loved his family, and maybe learned the hard way to read the fine print. Jack Nicklaus did not just crush golf balls, he also crushed the business game. While most pros were busy polishing trophies, Jack built a golf empire one tee box at a time. The guy went full architect mode through Nicklaus Design, designing over 400 golf courses in 45 countries. That is basically half the planet playing on Golden Bear blueprints, and when he wasn't drawing fairways, he was sealing deals, partnering with billionaire Howard Milstein in 2007 to turn Nicklaus Companies into a beast. We're talking polos with vineyard vines, wines through Jack Nicklaus wine collection, lemonade collabs with Arizona beverages, and enough brand deals to make your head spin like a shanked drive. Add decades of endorsements, from clubs with McGregor Golf to luxury watches with Rolex and clothing lines with Perry Ellis, and Jack's wallet has grown into a monster. Current estimated net worth? A whopping $400 million. That is enough to buy Augusta National. Okay, maybe not, but still, not bad for a guy who once just wanted to make a few birdies. But here is the real clutch play. Jack and his wife Barbara did not keep it all in the clubhouse. They founded the Nicklaus Children's Healthcare Foundation and have donated millions to help sick kids get the care they need. It turns out that the Golden Bear has a golden heart too. When it comes to major golf stats, Jack Nicklaus is not just on the leaderboard, he is the leaderboard. Jack was always in the mix, whether it was hoisting trophies, rewriting history, or making the rest of the tour sweat like they just missed a 2-footer. That is the tale of the Golden Bear, a regular kid from Columbus who turned into golf's version of a walking trophy cabinet. From booming drives to brainy course designs, Jack did it all, and did it with style. But here is where it gets juicy. Is Jack Nicklaus the true GOAT? Does he stand taller than Tiger Woods, Arnold Palmer, or Ben Hogan? And here is the ultimate what if. If Jack were in his prime today, could he stare down Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, or Jon Rahm at Augusta and walk away with another green jacket? Let us know what you think, because the debate over golf's true GOAT is far from over.